Today we are going to tie up a dry fly pattern that is excellent, especially in the summer months, leading into fall. Lakes, rivers, spring creeks, rainbow trout, cutthroat trout, all the fish love it because it's an ant. Or maybe a beetle. It's an ant beetle. So let's tie it. Here's the materials we're going to need. Let's start with the hook. Dry fly hook. This one is size 12, down eye, 1x fine, wide gap, forged bronze. We're going to have some black thread. This is a little bit thicker thread than I think I would prefer. So what is this? Oh yeah. This is 280. You'd be better off with like 70 UTC. But whatever. This is what I have on the bobbin. That's what we're going to use. I'm going to use a little bit of black dubbing. This is actually the only black dubbing I have. This is a crystal seal black gold. It's actually a little bit hard to get to stick onto the thread, but it works, especially if you use a little bit of dubbing wax. Okay, and we're also going to use some foam. I already have these black bug body foams, but you don't need this. This is like a specialty item, and this was gifted to me, and I have it, and I love using it. So if you want to buy this, great. If not, just pick some, thicker black foam and cut it down to size. And then for this bug ant beetle, we're going to use a little bit of black Hackle. This is was on sale, so this is kind of like a lower grade Hackle, but this is still really good stuff. So you might have to kind of pick through some of the feathers, pick what you like. This is a rooster saddle from Whiting, but it's one of their intro ones. So that just means like the quality of the feathers and the shapes and the sizes of them. There's probably some defects, but for our fishing patterns, these are going to be great. Save a little bit of money that way too. And I am kind of heavy on the super glue on this, so we're going to use a little bit of super glue to finish it off. All right. Oh, one last bit of foam too. I have this really super thin, flimsy foam. That's not good for a lot of things, but it is really good as an indicator. So, and that's it. Those are all the materials you need. So let's get tying. All right, hooks in the vise. Next up, let's start our thread. And actually, I don't know how this camera angle is for you guys. So once I get this thread wrapped, I'm gonna readjust the camera, make sure it's all good for you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. We got the camera repositioned, and we're gonna finish tying this fly. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we got the thread on the hook. So now we're going to use a little bit of dubbing wax and just put a little bit of that right there on the thread. And this is just to help the dubbing stick to the thread. So now we're going to pull out our dubbing here, and you just need the tiniest amount. This is just to give a little bit of volume to the fly because the hackle is going to kind of cover up most of it anyways. All right, so we'll spread that out and twist that on. And I have a hard time with this dubbing, but we're just gonna make it work. Get it going. Oh, it's just twisting around. Eventually it'll stick. There we go. And we'll just kind of retwist that down. Nice. All right. Cool. So now we're going to add just a tiny dab of super glue on the top of this dubbing. Boop. It's a little on the heavy side, but it'll be all right. And we're going to pull out our foam that you either cut or you have this bug body thing. Either way, you're going to take your foam. And with this little bug buddy, it's kind of fatter to the butt and a little tapered here. towards the front. So we're going to put the tapered end towards the eye. And we're just going to lay that right on top of the hook. And there's our glue. So we're going to be careful not to glue our fingers down to it. And we'll just go ahead and give that 2 wraps here. Hard to see what I'm doing with the camera, but that's all right. Okay, and now we're going to move up to the front. Oh, you know what? We forgot to tie in our hackle. All right, well, let's undo that. Skirt, skirt. Ooh, that's glued down on there now. Well, that's all right. We're just going to have to do this the ring-a-dink way. And we'll tie our hackle on now.
So the right time to tie your hackle on is before you do the dubbing. But you could see I actually messed it up here and forgot. So I'm just tying it on after I did the foam, which will work, but is not the preferred way. So tie your hackle on before you do your dubbing, and you'll be good.
There we go. All right, fix that. Tied the hackle in after the foam because you know what? We forgot, and that happens. Twist our hackle, black hackle, around the body. Several wraps. Up to the front. And now we're just going to tie it off. We'll give it one more wrap right there. We're going to tie that hackle down. Give it a couple of wraps right there. And then we're going to kind of pull that hackle back. Give it a couple more to secure it. And then we can go ahead and give it a little tag. And cut the tail off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put on our little indicator. So we've got this flimsy foam. You could see I've used this for some other fly some other time. So we're just going to use a little scrap of it. That's all we need. Cut that right off. And this is kind of wonky, but like I said, we just need a scrap. So we're just going to kind of trim it down to the size that we want. And this is too long for this fly, so we're actually just going to cut it in half. And we'll just use this little square. It's a little thick, actually, so we'll just give it just a little more trim. There we go. And that's perfect. That's all you need. It's a really small piece, you could see. So let's go ahead and we're going to lay this right on top. Right there. Still a little thick, but that's okay. And we'll hold it in place, give it a tight wrap. One more tight wrap, and boom. Time to finish the fly. So we're going to use our whip finish tool. Kind of hook it like a frisbee. Bring the tail around. And we'll give it like 4 solid wraps. And a couple more for good measure. All right, so that's kind of twisting around a little bit, but we're going to finish it off with just a dab of super glue. Got our thread. Put it right on there. All right. Tiny little dab of super glue just to hold it all in place. And then one more thing I like to do to finish this fly up is flip it upside down. And here, let me hold up the yellow behind it so you can kind of see this better. So all these legs sticking up, I like to actually give them a little bit of a trim, like a little bit of a flat cut trim, flat top trim. Not too short, but this actually is going to help it ride on the water a little bit better so that it doesn't want to tip over, so that it's like a flat surface for its flotation. So there you have it. Super easy to tie fly. Even when you mess it up, you can see I messed it up, and it's still going to be super great. High vis, ant, beetle, trout love it, fish love it, irresistible floating fly. Does pretty well even in choppy water, so pretty big riffles because of that foam. So put a little bit of floating on there, let it ride, and be ready to set the hook. So there you have it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again for watching. Click like and subscribe, and we'll do more of this. Thanks. Bye.